making a choice piece in an attempt to adapt to the environment that they found themselves in. But those adaptations, while very brilliant, when you actually take the time to think it through, and their ability to try to figure out how to solve their own concerns in the vacuum of having little or no adult support to do so is really quite ingenious. And so it supports my larger thesis that our scholars in the Kansas City Public Schools are the smartest, most competent, most brilliant, most ambitious, most capable children in the entire region. But they're trying to figure out some issues alone. Personally, I think if everybody else's children in the region, were trying to deal with the issues that my children are dealing with, it would crush them. But it hasn't crushed my children. What I thought then, seeing those as symptoms, is what I figured is, well, what if we can create a way where they can get some of the skills they need, where they can experience a sense of power, the power that comes from connection and working together collaboratively as a community. What if they could experience peace, the peace that comes from knowing how to address conflict in a way that heals issues rather than perpetuate issues? What if they could experience these things? Would that make a difference for them? And so I got involved in this program. The town at the time it was called Any Town, but eventually that organization, nonprofit, went away, and I was faced with a choice. And so I took what remained of that and created a program called Community 360. The intention of Community 360 was to specifically try to address these needs of children in our community. And so it's specifically targeted at high schoolers and attending schools with Kansas City Public Schools. There's a week-long summer leadership experience. We do it on the campus of Rockhurst University. And for 1 full week, me and a team of volunteers work with 50 high schoolers with curriculum. It's kind of a break and build type of curriculum. First half of the week, we break them down. So I've got all these young brothers and sisters come in like, hey, I ain't worried about y'all, man. I'm a hard, I'm tough, fuck all y'all. I ain't worried about all the bullshit. Like, after they come in on day one, by Wednesday, and they're all bawling and crying, And so it's really, it's this break and build. Because first, there are walls that we have to get through. And those walls are there for good reason. I believe that it's an adaptive response to the BS of our society. And so I think they're very wise to put those walls in. Frankly, they're smart not to trust every adult that they come across, just to be blunt about it. And so, we spend the first half of the week breaking down those walls and really creating a safe space in which these young people can engage. And then we spend the second half of the week really pouring into them some of the skills they would need to really be effective at creating a sense of empowerment when we teach community organizing. The skill of identifying what are their needs that aren't being met and pulling people together who have similar needs, and through them working together as a team, finding ways to get those needs met. We teach about peace. We teach peer mediation. This idea that there are going to be conflicts, that's inevitable, and that the response to that conflict is to really get present to what needs aren't being met for oneself, what needs aren't being met for the other person, and really having a conversation around what would it be like if we work towards meeting those needs. And so we teach peer mediation. And we also teach directly about connection, and particularly restoration. We teach restorative justice. What would it be like if instead of getting in trouble, the natural community response is to kick children out of the community? This is what incarceration is about. This is what suspension and expulsion is about. And when children make mistakes, which, go figure, children will make mistakes. Who knew? It's almost as if we couldn't predict that this would be the norm. But children make mistakes. The difference between my children and children in other parts of our city is when my children make mistakes, we systematically, ritualistically remove them from the community and push them farther away. And so we teach about restorative justice. What would it be like if instead of getting pushed farther away, mistakes were cause for restoration a cause for us to try to pull you closer in. And so by teaching these skill sets to our young people, after we've spent half a week really creating a fertile space for that to occur, the idea was that they could then go back into their schools, and not only could they live these skills themselves, and I think if I had some of my young people here, they would tell you that some of these skills have made a tremendous difference for them in terms of how they show up in the world. But also the idea that they'd be able to spread, they would be able to lead in such a way that these things became normative for the other young people in their schools and their community as well. And so that was the intention of Community 360. That's kind of what the symptom was that I saw, and that was the intended treatment for that symptom. Before I quit, take any questions and we move on, I'll tell you that over time it's become very blatantly obvious to me that Community 360 is certainly addressing the symptoms, but most definitely not addressing the disease. What I would say to you is that in the same way that we know inherently now from our research that it's not ideal for a teacher to go into their classroom, close the doors, seal themselves off. I'm going to focus on these kids, and I'm not going to interact with anybody outside the classroom, and I'm not going to let you come in, and there's not going to be any accountability. Like, we're just going to do my little fiefdom. Like, that doesn't make sense. And we know that when teachers collaborate, when they work together and really brainstorm about what makes the most sense for children, like, that's a better model. I would submit to you that parenting is the exact same way. In fact, I would go so far as to say parenting was never designed to be a private practice. There's never been an example in our society where it's worked out great for a family to just lock themselves in a house and whatever happens to these kids is what happens to these kids, and it's nobody else's business and nobody else is involved. And in fact, that's not our story. There's nobody in this room for whom that was your story. Your story, I know because you're here and not incarcerated or dead somewhere, is that not only did you have family who hopefully cared about you, but there were other adults in your life, in your community, and when you made mistakes, not if, because any rational society knows that children do stupid things, when you made mistakes, there were people who helped you and pulled you into the community to embrace and helped you get past that. And that's why you were here. You were not here because you were as smart as you think you are. You're here because there was a community that supported you in getting here. I would argue with the diseases that we have a lot of children, and that's not the case. Many years ago, all the black people in Kansas City were forced to live in one small little part of town. This aggressive practice of redlining ensured that those people's children would be as far away from our children as possible. The interesting result of that is that at the same time it was segregating racially, it actually had the impact of integrating socially and economically. And so at that time in Kansas City's history, black children would grow up and they would see the doctor's family and the teacher's family, and they would see the mailman's family, and they would see the trash collector's family, and everybody lived together. And so as children grew up, I think they grew up in a very different type of world, and they saw a very different set of opportunities. That is not the world that so many of our children who are growing up in Kansas public schools experience. They experience a world that remains dramatically racially segregated, but absent the benefits of socioeconomic integration, because now they live in a world that is frequently very economically segregated as well. And so I think children on my block, they'll grow up and they'll see that crazy guy down the street who makes websites for a living. But then if they look on down the block, honestly, there's not a whole lot else to see. Between my block and the next block, there's at least 20 vacant houses. If those houses were full of other professionals, other people who had a story to offer and had eyes to watch those children and support their growth and development, those children would grow up with a very different set of circumstances. And not only that, we know that it works at the 0 to 5 level as well in terms of readiness for kindergarten. What we know now from research is that the difference between children coming from families that are very low income with very low educational attainment and their difference from children coming from very high-income families and very high educational attainment is that this child has heard 30 million more words by the time they show up for kindergarten than this child has. And that just saturation of language makes a difference in that child's readiness. So many of our children wind up on this end of the spectrum. If I had to talk about a disease, the disease to me is clearly the persistent racism and classism that has become what we worship in this country. If we have idolized anything, we have indulged in the idolatry of separate and unequal. And we have continued with a more aggressive voice than ever in this nation's history, saying, I will do whatever it takes for my children to be as far away from those people's children as possible. And you just need to be clear that as long as that's the norm, as long as that's what we allow to live and be the thing that we lift up as the great American dream, is to get away from those people's kids, then that disease will continue perpetuating the type of symptoms that my children are forced to find ways to adapt. And Community 360 will continue to be necessary. That's my story. The questions you